Hi, welcome to this video series on how to build an e-authentication system using quick response code, QR code, and one-time password in C# and ASP.NET. My name is Ayuba Ojonugwa Moazu, and if you've been following my video tutorials, you'll notice that I've done a whole lot of tutorials on C# and ASP.NET, and some couple of tutorials on the blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain. So in this video series, we are going to see the quick response code and the one-time password, and we're going to see how we can encode these into and build an e-authentication system, so we can have users to be able to authenticate themselves using a one-time password, where they can receive the password via email or SMS. And the same way we're going to use our quick response code, we're going to see the advantages of using this quick response code and one-time password in building an e-authentication system to ease the process of registration and authentication for users. So for users of your web application, actually. So we're going to look at that. So just stay with me on this video tutorial. And then, like I said, one more time, my name is Ayuba Ojonugwa Moazu. Thank you. Hi, welcome to our session 1 on this video series on how to build an e-authentication system using quick response code, that's QR code, and one-time password in C# and ASP.NET. Once again, my name is Ayuba Ojonugwa Moazu. And on here, we're going to look at our quick response code and one-time password. We're going to look at the application of QR codes to e-authentication, and then the application of one-time password to e-authentication. So we're just going to talk briefly here, just to have a quick overview on why QR codes and OTP, which is one-time password, is important to e-authentication. And then we're going to see why most modern websites or modern web application today leverages on these technologies. So quick response code actually has been around. It's created, I think, by some Japanese guys. I think they created the QR codes as a means of identifying products earlier on. So, and this technology has grown far and wide, just like how the barcode is, but the quick response code is quite different. So we can automatically generate quick response code via code, like using our C# or any other programming language that you're familiar with. But since we're talking about C# and we're talking about ASP.NET, we're going to see how later on in this video series, we're going to see how later on we can use the QR codes to authenticate users on our website. So the QR codes can be applied to authentication. Instead of gone are the days when you just have a website where you just ask users to enter the username and password, and then the users get authenticated. Today we have an extra layer of security, called the two-factor authentication. After the first factor of authentication, which is entering the username and password, we have the second layer now of factor of authentication, where you can employ QR codes and OTPs. Probably you've seen websites where you're asked to verify your phone number. A code will be sent to your phone number if you try to log into the website or you try to register, and then you now enter the code into that website to verify that you actually own that phone number. All these are towards knowing your customers, KYC. But quick response codes can also be used to authenticate users on your website. So what we're going to do at the end of the day is we are going to generate OTP, and then we're going to convert those OTP to QR codes, and we're going to save that in our database, and probably maybe email the user that QR code in which he can scan, and then get authenticated, just to prove that he owns that number. So basically what we're really going to work on is the OTP, the one-time password, but we're going to convert that our OTP in our application to QR codes. So that's basically what this tutorial is all about. You know, how to build an e-authentication system using quick response code in one-time password in ASP.NET and C#. So like I said, you just stay with me and then we just go right ahead and start building this application. So the application of QR codes and one-time password into e-authentication is just to add another extra layer of security to your website when someone is visiting your website or accessing resources on your website. So just stay with me while we move on to the next video and start implementing what we have talked about so far. Thank you. Hello, welcome to session 2 on this video series on how to build an e-authentication system using the QR codes and the one-time password in C# and ASP.NET. Now in session 2 here we are going to design the e-authentication registration system. We are going to of course design the user interface and at the end of the day install the necessary libraries that we're going to use for this application. So we're going to design a registration system, you know, where we'll create a registration form, login form, and then all that, so that so that you just see how we're going to implement QR codes and one-time password in this authentication system we're going to design. So first of all, open your Visual Studio like I did mine here, and then create a project. Just I created an empty website here, create a web project, an empty website like I did here. I called it e-authentication, so you can see it's just empty. The only thing I have here is the web config file, of course, which is empty. There's no ASPS file here. So you create an empty project like this, and you can see my target framework is .NET 4.7, but you can use any one of your choice. So, and I'm using Visual Studio 2015. So you go right ahead. Sorry, now you've created this, so let's just add some ASPX file from it to it. You right click the project. We're going to create a registration form, login form, and then we're going to have a default page. So let's just go add new item. So we're going to create this form, just a registration form. Here we capture the user details. So let's call these let's see, register, right? So this is to register. There's no need of master page, so just click OK. So you can see we have an empty form here, so I can just go right ahead and put my maybe H2 or H3. I can say just user registration form, right? So I can draw a horizontal rule HR, and then since I'm just for simplicity case, to avoid a lot of unnecessary CSS and all that, I'm just going to use a table. So create a table like this, and so I say we just ask for simple for simplicity case. Let's just ask for very basic, very simple details. So we're just going to ask for your username, your password, and then your phone number. That's just what we're just going to ask for here. So we say username. So we can add a text box there. Just go right ahead and choose your text box control. So we call this text username, and then we're going to add a password. So the same thing. So say password. So we go here, we say text password, password, and then we just collect the user phone number. So we're going to need these for our one-time password. We can collect his email and password and phone number too. So collecting his email means we'll have to send him an email, of the OTP, and then we can also send him an email of the OTP, and then we can also send the OTP to his phone number. But for simplicity case, since I'm going to use a phone number, let's just use phone number here. Or you can add email to your own if you want to. So okay, let me just put the option of the email there. So let's just say email. Let's put email and phone number. Text email. Now we go right ahead and put phone number. So we say phone number. So text phone number, right? So now we have this. Can we run this and see? Let's just see how it looks like. Okay, saving. Okay, great. So let's just right click, and then we'll view this in our browser and see what we have there. So let this run, and then let's see what we have. Okay, good. So just a simple form like this. So we're just gonna put the button here called register, right? Just a simple interface. Give you the concept. So we drop this like this. So I will drop the button. Where's my button control? Good. So we'll drop these, and then we'll give it a name. TN register, right? So this is assumed to be a registration form. Register or sign up or anything. So let's just say register is the word we're using here. So let's go right ahead and refresh this again. Okay, so we just have this simple form here where you enter username, password, email, phone number, and then you register. So this is going to be our registration form. And can I expand this a little bit? Just style this width. Let's see, 450 pixel. Let me see how it looks like on 450 pixel width. Okay, yeah, this is a little bit better. Now we have our registration form like this. So let's create our login form. Let's create a new form again. So let's add new item. So let's name this login. So we create the interface tool. So put H2 here. Say login to your account, right? Draw a HR. Now we put in the table. We style it. Set width. It's 450 pixel too. So we have these, and so we say you enter username. Something text username. Password. Text password. Good. And then this is just what we're just going to need here, and then we're going to have a final form, the verification form. So okay, sorry, this is to be table row, table data. So we'll name this login, btn login. So this is our login button, right? Now we have this. So we are going to create another one, the verification. Let's run this and see. Good. So let's say we have the registration form, which is this. So have the registration form, which is this: the user enter his registration information, username, password, email, and phone number, and then we save this in the database, and then you come here, and then of course you try to log in, right? Good. Come here, try to log in. Now we're going to put a verification page, so let's create another page called verification. So here we're going to verify your phone number by sending you an OTP, in which we're going to convert that OTP into a QR code that you can scan and all that. So let's just add another page. Let's just say verification. So we're verifying who you are. We're verifying your phone number. That's your identity. So I call this verification. So we're going to have h2 verification, or verify your identity. Let me say identity. So good. Put a horizontal row. We still put our table, just for simplicity case. To style it, we say weight. Yeah, let me just increase it a little bit. So let's say 550. So here we say enter OTP received. OTP received on your phone or email on your phone, of your email, right? So we're going to drop this. So text OTP, right? Then we're going to do something else again. We're going to say or verify. Let me just see how this interface will look. Okay, I think I just need to add another one here. How am I going to create this interface? Okay, let's do it this way. Let's say column span. Let's make these 2. And then we'll come here. We do this. I think I pick this and drop it here. Or scan this, or scan the QR code. So good. So then we're going to have the OTP here, right? We're just going to say OTP, enter OTP, enter OTP. Could actually make this just TH, but it's okay. So enter OTP, or I can say TH. We have enter OTP here, which is this, and then let's drop the image, right? So we're just going to drop an image here. So I'm going to drop this image. So I'll call it image QR code, and I'll give it a width of 120 pixel and the height of 120 pixel. Right, so after these let's go right ahead and do this. So we'll drop a button here, we just say verify. So we say verify. Good. Now let's look at how the registration page looks like. The verification page, sorry. Let's see how it looks like. How a presentable interface. Okay, good. So what I want to do here, this is the idea. A user comes to the website initially, and then he registers with us by coming to this page. You know, he enters his username, password, email, or phone number, and then we save these in the database. And then the user comes in to log in, and then he comes to this page. Just to give you an overview of how the idea is going to look like. So he comes to this, and then he enters his username and password, and then he clicks login. So after we've authenticated the username and password, the next page the user is going to see is this. So upon this clicking of this login form, we send an OTP to the user's phone. We send a one-time password to the user's phone. So, and then he receives that on his phone and his email, and then here we tell the user to enter OTP received on your phone or email, or scan the QR code. So here we're going to have a QR code here, which of course is the same OTP. So the user has two options: either he enters the OTP here, or he scans this QR code. So upon entering the OTP here, if he clicks verify, and then we are going to check these against, we're going to check this value here he entered against the value stored in our database. If it matches, then the user has verified his identity by verifying that the phone number belongs to him or the email belongs to him. And then, or if the user scans this QR code with his phone, you know, this automatically redirects him. If it's successful, it automatically redirects him to our main page. So let's just finally just create a default page and just say welcome to E-Authentication system. Let's just finally create a default page. Let me just call it success. Okay, default success. So here I will just put in a message and say message 2, welcome to E-Authentication tutorial. We put h3. You have been successfully verified. So let's just say this is the welcome message you're just going to see after all the steps have been taken. So you go to the registration form, you register, we store your information in the database, you come in, you log in, and then if you've authenticated your username and password, then you go to the verification page where you enter your the OTP you received on your email or phone number. So once you've received that, then we automatically redirect you to default success, and then we'll just tell you, welcome to E-Authentication tutorial, you have been successfully verified. So this is how our interface is going to look like. This is the flow of this E-Authentication using OTP and QR code. So stay with me in the next tutorial, and then let's dive into coding and installing the necessary libraries that we're going to need to proceed with this video tutorial. So in the next video, we are going to install the necessary library. Specifically, we're going to use the Zing library for our QR code, and then we're going to dynamically generate our OTP whenever a user registers or whenever a user logs in into our system using the login form. So, and then we send that OTP into his phone number or his email. And of course, you can check my video tutorial on how to send SMS to phone numbers using ESP.NET. But I'm still going to touch that here. We're just going to brush on that and then see how we can do that again via sending to phone number. So thank you very much for watching. Once again, my name is Ayuba. Hi. We shall continue from where we stopped in the last video when we are designing the user interface for the E-Authentication system. So we're going to continue here by designing the database and then installing some necessary libraries for our QR code, and see how we can generate our OTP for the system. So what we're going to do now, if you have SQL Server Management Studio, just the way I have it here, you open your SQL Server Management Studio and then you create a database. So now what we're going to do, I just want to create a simple registration table where we will just capture the username, password, phone number, email, and then probably a column for OTP and QR code, just to go in line with what we have here in our registration.axpx page. So we're just going to have the interface to just conform with all these fields that we have in our user interface. So let's just get to view this and see that this come up a little bit. Good. So we're just going to create a table. Let's just have username, password, email, phone number, and then we have additional fields like OTP and QR code. So that's just what we're going to create. So go to your SQL server, go to database, right click, create a new database. So we can just call it E-Authentication, right? So, but you can use the ASP.NET login to do this, but just to give you a detailed overview and grabs into how the whole system will look like. So I'm just going to create a kind of registration system manually, create the database manually. But like I said, you can use the ASP.NET register SQL tool to be able to do this. So let's have this up and running. Okay, this is a little bit slow, so let's just wait for it to come up. So we're creating a new database, right? My computer is kind of slow these days, running the recording software and running Visual Studio and SQL Server. So let me just call it E-AuthDB, just something like this. Okay, just go right ahead and click OK. Okay, it's executing. It's slow, I know, but okay, good. So now we have that. So we just create a table. I just call it registration. Okay, so right click, create a new table. So I'll call this user, say this user ID. Just for simplicity case, I'll make this an integer. Okay, it's kind of slow, so okay. I don't know, it's not responding. Oof, I didn't click SQL query, so we say this is an integer, for example, and then we'll make it our primary key, and then I come right here, and then make it identity, make it true, right? So then we go right ahead and say username. Let's just put it non-vocal like this: username, password, and then email, phone, and then so here we say OTP. Let's just put the same thing, and then QR code. So the same non-vocal, but here in the QR code here we're going to store an image URL. So I can just make this max, just so we're going to store an image URL here. So let's go right ahead and save this table. Let's call it TBL registration, or yeah, let's just call it registration, or users. I think call it users. Right, so this is our registration table, or users table, where we have a list of users that are registered on this system, for example. Good, now we have this now. So we have this database, right? So we've created it, so we're going to use that here. Now for our I said something about installing some libraries, right? So for the QR code, we're going to use the ZMing library. ZMing, yeah, it's called like that. ZXIMG, the Zing library. Okay, so we're just going to add that. We'll go right ahead and add that here. So we go to the website. So go to manage NuGet packages, right? So okay, I'll go to browse and then let's search for it. So you go to add NuGet packages and then you search for this Zinc. Yeah, the Zinc library. Zinc library. So we're going to use this to be able to generate our QR code in the system. So let's just install this for now. So you can see we have about 1.83 million downloads. So Zinc.net. You can see, you can read about it. Zinc.net is a part of Zinc, an open source multi-format ID/2D barcode image processing library originally implemented in Java. It has been ported by hand with a lot of optimization and improvement. So you can go to their website and then look read more about it. So this is the library we're going to use to be able to generate our QR code. So let's just go right ahead and click install and wait for this to get installed onto our system, to our project. Okay, so we'll go right ahead and click OK. So we install these. Wait for this to get installed. Okay. So wait for all the packages to get added. Okay, wait for it to get added. So this has been added successfully. So now we have these. You can get to see it in your bin folder. You can see we've added all this. So we need these classes, this DLL, to be able to create our QR code. So that's that. In the next session we are going to start coding and see how we can create our E-authentication system. So thank you for watching. Hi, welcome to session 3 on this video series on how to build an e-authentication system using the quick response code and the one-time password. My name once more is Ayuba Ojonubomazu. And then if you've been with me in the last video, we're able to create an interface, where we'll have a registration form, and then we also created an interface where we have our login form, and then we proceeded to create another interface where we have a verification form. So, and then we said after you've been verified as a user, then we can direct you to a page that welcomes you into the system. Just a simple e-registration form to show how the flow of this QR code and one-time password mixture is all about. So and we're able to also design our just very simple database just with just user tables where we have a user ID, username, password, email, phone number, OTP, and QR code. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to dive into coding, and then we are going to start with the registration page. We're going to code the registration page and then be able to add users into the system. And once we do that, we are also going to generate a random OTP in the process of registration, and then we're going to convert that random OTP into a QR code, and then we're going to save all this into the system. So that's what we are going to do. So for registering the user, we are just going to simply create a typed data set connected to our database where we can add the user details into our database. So basically that's just what we are going to do. So I think we can start with that. The system is not responding, so let's wait a little bit so we can start with that immediately. Okay, let me get to open the register.axpx page first and see the outcome. And if you could recall, we were able to add the Zing library for creating our QR code. So we're going to see how we're going to use a library to generate QR images that we can probably email the user, and the user can open his email and then follow the link and scan this QR code. Just any form of method you want to use, but basically I'm going to teach you how to generate a QR code using the Zing library and how to generate OTP, and ultimately we're going to convert our OTP into QR code. So that's exactly what we are planning to do. So let's just wait for this to come up and then we quickly proceed from there. I think my computer is quite slow, Okay, so we have this page, right? So let's quickly okay, this is still not responding completely yet. Good. Let's wait for all this to come up. We can right click and go to view code and see what we can have there. Okay, just to have this make sure that all these pages are up. Okay, good. Okay, good. Now so let's just go here and then we add a folder. So let's just add a folder. So we'll add an ASP.NET folder called app code. So we add that. And then in the app code folder, the system is really not responding as it's supposed to. It's taking time for operations too. So now in the add folder, we right click again, and we go to add, and we go to add new item. So just to create, quick and dirty, so we're going to use a type data set, and try to pick it from there. So of course, make sure C#, and scroll down a little bit, search for data sets. What is the data set? Good. So we have data sets here, so I could just name it E-Auth data set, for example. So I go right ahead and add this. So we go to add, and then just go to add table adapter like this. So good. Now we go to new connection. Click the new connection button, and then we could put dot as our server name, which of course my server name is localhost. So I go right ahead to search for the databases I have here. I have to do this again. course, server name, I'm using Windows Authentication. I'm supposed to see the list of my the servers I have here. Guess maybe I have to refresh this. Make sure it's SQL. Well, this is my server name, which is still the same thing with dot, which is localhost. Okay, good. So we have E-Authentication DB, right? So we select that, we test our connection, and connection is okay. So we'll go right ahead and click OK. Okay, so let's wait for this to respond, and then let's see how our connection string will look like. So good. So this is how our connection string will look like. You can just click on this arrow and see that. Now the next thing is I click on next. And then, of course, I save my connection as this in my web config file. So this will automatically update my web config file, which we can check it later. So go ahead and hit next. Leave it on use SQL statements. We'll hit next again, and then we go to query builder. We're just using type dataset to achieve this quickly. So this will shows the list of all the tables we have in our database. We just have only one table, which is TBL user, so we can just go right ahead and add that into our query builder. Close this. So now we click on this, just check each and every of the fields we have, which is equivalent to our table. Move on next. Hit on next. And we'll click on finish. So now we're able to have this table in our typed data set. So we can just go right ahead now. This is automatically created an insert, delete, and update statement for us. So I think we can check that here. You can see we have insert command, select command, delete command, and update command. So we all have this. So now we can call these here to be able to use that. So just come here and say we say using E-Authentication table adapters, right? Okay, good. So now we look for our register button. We'll create an on-click event there. It's a button reset and click. Then one more thing, the password, we should make the text to be password mode. So text mode should be password, right? Good, password. So we have this like this now. Now when we go back to our register.txpx, you can see that we have these. So we could actually now call our type data set to be able to insert values we get from our field into the database. Just a simple authentication system, just like the table. Now where most of the work will be done is once the user is authenticated and the user logged in. So we're going to generate OTP and then convert the OTP into a QR code and then probably email that to the user, so the user can copy that and actually authenticate himself before getting access to other parts of the system. So here now we're just going to do this. We just say user table adapters, we could call it iUsers, and then we'll just do a simple insert statement. We'll just do a simple insert statement. So text username, text password, the text, and then text email, and then text phone number, and for the OTP and the QR code we could just put an empty string here. So we're done with it. Right now we could put this in a try and catch block. We could just put these in a try and catch block. Just a simple try and catch block. So put this here. So we'll put this here, and then of course we need to display a message, so whether success or failure. So I will just drop about a label, just a label here, just drop it up here, and then so label MSG, which is message. Could drop this like this, and then okay, cancel this, and then font bold, we'll make it true. Then visibility, we make it false. Right, good. So now we go right ahead and continue. Okay, let's wait for this to get saved first. Okay, so if this is successful, we can just display this. So label message, you can just put it the text, System is quite slow. So the system is quite slow. Let's wait for it in C. Okay, good. Okay, so if it's we can say user registration successful, right? And then we could do this to visible, toggle it to true. Since it's false here, good. So it's false here, so we toggle it to true once the registration is successful. Else we just display this. Maybe something happened along the way, and then we say visible. Okay, sorry, visible is true too. And then probably before that we display this G text. Set error in registration. Yeah. Okay, and then we could just here we could also do something like this. We could change the font color here to be green, forest green font color. How do you get the font color of how do you change the font color of a text property for label? Is it name or okay, get into just want to change the font color of this. Say I want to change the back color, for example. I guess I have to look at this again, and what are these properties for? Okay, all right, we'll come back and then we'll change this. So I think I forgot in the code and how to change the colors of the system. So for now, we're able to do this. Now we insert, just make an insert statement, a simple insert statement into our users table, where we'll have the username, password, email, phone, and then we'll leave the OTP and the QR code empty for now, which we're going to update that later. But if there's an error in a registration, then we display this. So now that's that about the registration page. Then let's go right ahead and code the login page. Let's remove this from Team Explorer and take it back to Solution Explorer. So the login page, let's assume after registering, the user comes to the login page. So we'll create an on-click event here. Okay, so we can still go back and use this. Using E-Authentication system, E-Authentication dataset, table adapters. So now in our login form, when the user clicks the login button, we do a match, check what's in the, just do a match of what's, just the match of the username. So if you can check, this is not a complete login system, authentication system actually, because it has a whole lot of things. If we're using the ESP.NET login system that is pre-built with the .NET engine, where it checks if a username exists and all that. So we're not just going to do that. We're not going to do to check whether if a username exists and all that in inserting this into our registration system. But if you want to create a full-blown registration system, you have to check if this username is existing and if the email is existing before you execute this insert operation. But we're not doing that, and we're not hashing the password to store it in our database. You can use the ESP.NET registration SQL to do that, but we're not doing that. The purpose of this tutorial is just to show you how you can use a QR code, one OTP, and QR code in E-Authentication system. So I'm just showing you the concept on how this is going to work at the end of the day. So just keep that in mind that we're not doing that. So what we'll just do here is we'll just do a comparison of what's in our text box, the username in our text box, and what's in our database. If it's the same, if it matches, then it's assumed that the user is authenticated. But this is not the best authentication method when designing your own full-blown application. This is just to give you a concept and overview of how the whole system will be. So here's what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to retrieve our username from the text box, and then we're going to check, we're going to select based on that username from our data set. So before we do that, let's just go back to the data set here, and then we'll say get by username. So we'll create a new query. So we're checking, we're getting by username. So go right ahead and hit the next button. So get by username, and then we hit the next button. Okay, good. So we have that get by username. So we could just say string txt user, right? Could do this text username the text, right? But before we do this, we could just do a small check. We could say if text username the text is not an empty string, you know, at least there is something. So that's when we have this. So if the username the text is not empty, then we get this. So now we are going to select, right? Okay, so we go tbl use table adapter by users, new tbl with the table adapters. So now here's what we're going to do. We are going to say okay, we're going to create a data table. We're going to create a data table. We good. We're going to create the user data table and call it itbl, right? And then we could do this. Hope I'm correct. Now we could say itbl now, which is our user data table, is we can say we get by username, right? And what is our username? Text username, which is this, sorry, text user, sorry, which is what we got from our text box. You could actually just put this whole text box here. Now we have this, so we are going to check if this this data table has records in it. If it has records, then that means the username matches, it exists. But if it doesn't have records, that means the username doesn't match. So we could just say if rows count is 0, so that means the user does not exist, right? So we could display a message there. We'll come to that. Else if itbl rows count is greater than 0, which means it exists, the username exists, then we could just say the user exists, and then we could log in the system. So now here it's where we're going to do a whole lot of our operations, right? But before we do that, let's go here and let's go here and drop just what the same thing we did here. Let's go ahead and drop a label. We'll also call it label message, just to display it if a user doesn't exist. LBL MSG. So font bold is true. Actually put a break here. Good. Now we have these, right? So good. So we can just come back here and display this message. Okay, I need to set the visibility to false first. So here we'll say LBL MSG the text. No, because the user does not exist in our system. User does not exist. Just a simple and then of course we could say LBL message dot visible, and then we toggle it to true just to display this message. Now, but if the user does exist, we are going to generate an OTP. Then, because we want to verify the user's phone number or email, so we're going to generate an OTP, convert that OTP into a QR code, and then email the user that OTP. We either email the user that OTP, or we send the OTP as a text to the user's phone. So each of the either method we could decide to choose. So if the user does exist, that's what we are going to do here. So to generate the OTP, I think let's create that. Then we can convert that OTP into a QR code. So let's just create this method, private void, let's call it generate OTP, right? Good. Now to generate OTP, first of all we need to we decide the kind of OTP we want to generate. Now we're just going to create an OTP which is going to be a mixture of alphabets, both capital letter alphabets, small letter alphabets, and numbers. Just as simple, but you can actually extend yours to include special characters and all that. But for simplicity case, we're going to generate an OTP based on alphabets, alphabets and numbers. So we start with alphabets first. So we say string alphabets, right? Alphabets. So we'll put all the known alphabets. We know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So these are all the alphabet, right? Then we also create a string small alphabets. Small alphabets. So the same thing. So we're just going to have a mixture of that. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So I have that now. Good. So string numbers to string numbers. So we're just going to have from 0 to 10 to 9, or from 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Just how it is on my keyboard. Now we have this, right? So we say string characters should be numbers. The numbers we just created. So now we are going to do this. We're going to say characters. So we're going to add the alphabets plus the small alphabets plus the numbers. So we're going to decide on the length of our OTP, whether 5 characters, 10 characters, 15 characters, 3 characters. I think we could just use 5. So say length, integer length. So we could say just 5 characters, right? Just 5 characters. 25 characters. Okay, so now let's say string OTP itself. First of all, the OTP is empty string, right? So we check, we do a loop and check based on the length of the OTP we're creating, and then we see how we do our thing. So we'll just say for integer I equals to 0 and I less than length for character, of course I plus plus. So string character, not characters now. Let's just say string character. Of course, we have an empty string here, so we're just going to do a random and comparison and random stuff here. So we have this, and then so we're going to do a do while statement. I think that will go well with us. So so we say integer index. So we'll create a new random. Next 0, the minimum value is 0, then the maximum value will be characters, the length of the characters, which is what we have, the length of the characters here, length of the characters. Then character now, which is character without s, which will be now characters. To character array will be better. Index. String. So we do this while put our while here. We do this while OTP dot index of character is not 0, it's less than it's not less than 0, plus it's not 0, right? Just to say it's not less than -1. So we do this, and then so we come here, and then finally our OTP, we add a character. Good. So we keep on adding each of these. So we randomly generate randomly pick numbers and characters from each of these, and then we keep on adding it to our OTP while this is while this statement remains valid. So now we've generated OTP. We're able to generate OTP. We can actually display this on a label if we run this. Then the next is to generate our QR code, and then the next is to convert this OTP into QR code. So what I want to do is this OTP that is generated, we're going to email this OTP to the user or send it as an SMS to the user, and then the converted QR code as an image will also be sent to the user. And then in our verification page, the user can either enter the OTP and verify, or the user can scan the QR image and verify. So in the next video, we are going to continue by generating our QR code, and then proceed from there to sending it to the user via email or phone number as we choose. So thank you for watching. Hello, if you can recall, in the last video we are able to create this function to generate OTP So we're going to proceed here to create a function to convert the OTP generated here into QR code. So that's what we're going to do here before we all wrap it up, and then you see how it all makes sense at the end of the day. So we also create another function. Just let's continue from where we stopped last time. So let's call this, let's say, private code. So now we are going to accept an argument. So let's just call it a name. The argument will be the OTP. So OTP name, or just OTP name. Okay. So we're going to pass the OTP that we generate here. So we're going to collect this as an argument. So at the end of these, of course, we're going to call this function. So but before we do this, make sure you have installed the Zinc library and you have all this TLL in your bin directory. And we're going to use that. So let's just import some statements. Let me import it to make this the last. So first of all, we need using system.drawing. We need the using system.drawing class. The drawing using system.drawing, because we need to convert this into an image. We need to convert our QR code into an image. So we need the image in class. Then of course we need system.io using system.io input output, and then of course finally we need using using Zinc, using the Zinc class that we imported. Good, the Zinc namespace. Now that we have this, these are all what we need. So let's go right ahead and start coding this. So we declare this writer, so we call it new barcode writer. Barcode writer, what's this? Then so we say writer format should be this barcode format, of course QR code. That's what we need. You can see there are different kinds of formats we have we can generate, but we're interested in generating a QR code. So let's do this. Variable result should be, so we say writer dot write, now OTP name. Good. And then so we need to save that. We need to save that into a path, into a file path. So what I'm going to do, we need to save all our generated QR images. We'll actually save it in the database, or we'll save it in a file path. But what I'm going to do in this case, just a simple part, just a simple scenario. We're going to save all OTP generated images into our file system, then we get the URL of that and save it in our database. So we just come here, add a new folder called images. So here's where, assume here's where we're storing all our generated QR codes in the images. So I come here, I say string path should be server map path, so images, of course I just created, and then let's call it QR image.jpg. so our generated QR image will be saved as that. Then from there, so we declared a barcode bitmap object. So variable, call it barcode bitmap. So we say new bitmap. Good, have a class there. We have bitmap, of course, with the results that we got, that we write from our OTP. So we have this, and then so using memory stream, call it memory, new memory stream. So of course using file stream, that's fx. So it says new file stream, path, file mode, create, good. Then file access, read write, file access, read write, good. So we have these, and so barcode bitmap, save memory. Image format of course is JPG, right? Image format is our JPG, which is JPEG. So now that we have that, so we do this, create this array of bytes, and then we say memory to array. So the file stream that we created, bytes here like this. So the file stream that we created, so we write it, the bytes, bytes, integer offset 0, and bytes at length, right? The array of bytes dot length. Okay, good. Now okay, good. Now we have this, so we're able to generate our image, and then we are able to save it here. So we could actually save this part of the image now into our database. We could actually do that. So what I'm going to do next here is so as soon as you call the generate OTP, and OTP is generated, we also call this generate QR code that we just created, generate QR code, and pass in the OTP that is generated. So good. So we have these two functions created. What this means now is once you log in and we verify that the user exists, we are just going to run this operation, generate OTP. That OTP into QR code. So, and once we're able to do this, I think the next thing is we can email this OTP or this generated QR code, this OTP and generated QR code to the user, to the user's email or the user's phone, just to verify that the user is actually authenticated. The phone and the email the user provided is truly belong to him or her. So that's the general idea. Actually, we're trying to verify the user's phone number or email as an added authentication to believe to for us to know that, okay, yes, you truly claim to be who you are. So that's the purpose of this system, right? So now we are able to do that. So the next thing is for us to create another function to be able to send an email or to send an SMS of what we've created to the user's phone number or email address. So I'm going to handle that in the next video, and then I'll just decide now when I'm going to use an email, whether I'm going to use an email or I'm going to use a phone number. So I'll just decide that. But you can use anyone you feel like, anyone, or you can use both of them for your convenience. I've done a video before on sending SMS using Nexmo. Probably I might consider using that just to send OTP to your phone or the email. So stay with me as we proceed to the next video, and then let me see, are we missing anything for now? Okay, we'll just look at everything we're going to do in the next video. So thank you for watching. Hi. So in the last video we were able to create this function to generate the QR code from our OTP, that we automatically generated. So we are converting that OTP to QR code. So we're able to create these functions now, and this is on the login page.axpx. So what we're going to do now is now after the user has logged in, we've generated this OTP. We've called this function that will generate OTP and QR code. We need to add the generated OTP and QR code to the user's database. So we need to update this table TBL users with OTP and QR code, and then send this OTP and QR code that we're going to have here to the user's email. So that way we're actually verifying the user's email. So there are two methods. We could actually send him an email with his OTP and QR code, and we could also send him a text message. But for simplicity case, we're going to stick to using an email for this video tutorial. So we send the user his OTP and the generated QR code to his email to verify his email identity. So after doing that, then the user will be directed to the verification page here, where the user will enter his OTP or scan the QR code and then click the button verify. So if the user clicks this button verify, we are going to check the entered OTP against what we have in our database. So if it matches, then the user has been successfully verified. If not, then the user identity cannot be verified. So that's the whole logic flow of how this program is going to look like. So for now, since we're talking about updating the OTP, updating the user table with OTP and QR codes, let's quickly go and create that. So just go to your app code and go to your data sets, which I have mine here. So we're just going to create an update statement just to update these two columns, this and this. So I just come here and then right click, go to add query. So we add query, we create an SQL query for update statements. So we just click next, and then we select update, we hit the next button. So we're just interested in updating OTP and QR code, so I think we don't need this. So set update OTP and QR code where user ID is equals to this. So I can just change mine to where username. Now this is assumed that we've already created our code in such a way to check for existing username. So let's just put this where username equals username. Good. Then so we'll just say update by username. So we'll hit our next button. And then we'll go right ahead to finish this. Okay, let's wait for this to respond. So let's just wait for this to respond, then we go right ahead and click the finish button. Okay, good. So you can see that this statement has been created or configured successfully. So we'll go right ahead and click the finish button, and now we are going to have this. So we update username, update OTP and QR code with these credentials, your username, and where the username is this. So now that we've done this, the next thing now, it's okay, let's go back to our login page and then look at the flow of the program. So we see on button click, we check if the user exists or not, and then if the user exists, that means the user has registered before. We generate an OTP, which in turn generate a QR code based on our OTP. Now, if we're able to successfully do this, the next thing is to update the users table with the generated OTP and send an email to the user. So let's just come here and update the user table. So okay, so we just come here, we say users. Okay, we need to call the update function. I think I need to okay, we said update by username, right? I need to okay, save this. Okay, I can go right ahead and open it again just to make sure it's saved. So we open these again just to make sure that it's saved completely. Okay, scroll down and see. Okay, good. So I think it's saved. Now we just go back here and then we say users that we have declared here. Now update by username, right? So when OTP, good. Now we need to get the OTP, right? And we need to figure out a way to get the OTP. So we could actually do this just anywhere. We could actually do this. I think let's do this after the generate QR code. So let's put this statement here. So after the QR code is successfully generated, let's add it to the database. So we say this TBI users, we say users, new TBI users table adapter, since we're using our type data sets. Just to update by username. So we'll put the OTP, of course, which is our OTP name here that we are using. The QR code now would be this part, this image part here, this OTP image part here, and then we're updating by username, right? So just put text username text. So good. Now that we're able to do this, this is okay. So the next thing is to create a function to send the user an email of his OTP and his QR image before we proceed to the verification page. So now we're going to write codes to be able to send email. So for that we need to use the system.net class. So we just call system using system.net, and then we use a system.net.mail class too. So using system.net.mail. Good. So we need to use this to namespace for sending email in C# and ASP.NET. So we go right ahead here and create a function. So I can just call it, say, private send email. So we're actually sending the OTP. We're actually sending the user the OTP name. Let me see, the OTP name and the QR image, right? I'm thinking, do I need to create a function or I should just write this directly? Okay, well, let's just create a function then. String, let's say OTP name, just the way we have it. So let's do a try and catch. Since we're sending mail, drop this like this. And good. So we start with mail message. Call it mail, and then declare this class, right? So mail. Now in sending, you could actually use Google your Gmail account to send email, but now for the purpose, I actually have a email set up for my startup called Brain Legit. So I'm going to use that my startup email that I created to send this email. So you could use any email that you want. I'll just show you what I mean. So mail from, now this will be from the email. Now you can put your own email address here. So let me just put it from email, that's from the email you're sending from, and then here is supposed to be the subject of your mail. So I can call these accounts authentication, right? I can call this accounts authentication. So this is just the subject. So let me just put it like this. So you replace this from email with your own email where you're sending from, probably your Gmail. So, and then the next thing, mail to, we add we're sending to, so the email you're sending to. So now the email we are sending to is the user's email. Now how do we get this? I'm coming. We need to get that. We need to get that. So here I think we need to create that somewhere here. We said get by user name, right? So before sending this, let me create this string. Let me create it as create that here. That's what we're going to need. String user email. Then before we call the generate OTP, that is if the user exists, we are going to get this email. So user email will now be I trace through this and get the user email. That's what I'm trying to do. So I trace through the data table, which is this. So that is what we are going to do. So we're going to say for each I row. Let me get this statement properly. For each data sets, that's good. Let's call this I row. Am I getting this statement correctly? Good. In ITBL dot rows good. I think I'm getting the statement correctly. Let me see. Good, I'm getting the statement correctly, so we can get the email now. So we'll just say user email. User email should be good. So we get this now. Since the user email based on this username is just going to be 1, we are sure that we're just going to get only this now. So that's where we are sending the mail to, right? So now that we've done that, we can come back here and then we are sending this to user email. Good. So that's where we're sending to. And then the mail subject of the mail, said we could just say account activation. Now since we're going to send a QR image alongside the email, we need to put that. So let me just say inline image, inline QR image, just name it since we're sending it inline. So we have to use this new linked resource, and then let's get it from the server where we're storing it in our image folder. So just go server, format. So we have these images, and then we say QR image.jpg. And of course we put the image type that we have here, which is image JPG. Hope I got this syntax correctly. Good. Now now that we have that, let's go again and say the inline image content ID. So we give the image ID, content ID. We set QR code. And then the body now of the mail, just a string body. So we just start like this. We say hello, probably the username, hello plus text username. Let's trim that and remove any spaces within. So hello, the username, we could just say well, we're excited to tell you that your hello user text hello the username. Then we could say your below are your login credentials, below are your verification credentials, OTP, and then QR image, you know, something like that. So let's put that again. So let's add that string. Let's break this. Let's break it like twice. So we say below are your verification credentials. So let's put again body. I still break it. I still break it like twice, and then you know, here we say OTP. Yeah, just make it a little bit bold, give a space. So OTP name, good. And then image, right? So we need to put the image too, which is a QR image. Let's do it this way. String dot format. Let's break this. Let's just break this, and then let's put a link to the image. So let's use the image tag. Let's give it a width, width. Say the width is 250. And now we search for the image. So now we're going to use our content ID, which is QR code, which is this here. the inline image content ID. Good. Stringlet formats. So this here. So now we're done with constructing the body of the. So we declare this view. We say alternate view. Let's create alternate view from string. So we say body. Body that's yeah, of course, body. This should be null, and then of course text input HTML. Media type is HTML. We could just put text, and let's say in text HTML, sorry, HTML. Then the view dot linked resource. Now we're doing this because we're actually you know, adding an image to our inline QR code, inline image rather, because we're actually adding an image to our email, to the mail we're sending. So alternate views dot add view, and then mail dot is body HTML, of course true. Set this to true, and then we'll put SMTP client, SMTP client, so we'll call it SMTP. So this will be new SMTP client. Now I'm sending it from this server here. So you can change these to, if you're using Gmail, you can send this to smtp.gmail.com, but I'm sending it from this server here that I have. And what I have here is my port here is 2525. Now I think Gmail's port is like I think it's 587. So you could just put SMTP. You can just put smtp.gmail.com and then 587. So you check it out. But I'm sending it from this server, this private server that I have. And then my network credentials. Network credentials. I mean credentials. Credentials should be new network credentials. So here's where I'm going to put my username and password. So let me just put it, just put your username here, your Gmail username probably, and your password. So I'm going to change this if I'm sending these later, so that I get to see the email. So you change this to username and password. Then after doing this, of course, we say SMTP credentials, SMTP, SMPT, that's what I wrote, SMPT credentials. Should be credentials that I declared there. So we're going to send the email now. So SMPT, let's send. We're going to send the mail which we declared here initially. So now we are able to send the mail. Okay, so let's see where will be the best place to call this function. Okay, in our catch block, let's just catch any exception, any mail sending exception. Let's name it EX. And then we could just say that will be a message that we have. So we catch this exception, message. Now we are able to do this if it's successful. So we could actually call this here and then send in the OTP name. Just want these to be properly coded. So we could call this here too. I think we should just call this here after we generate our QR code from our OTP successfully. Then we send the mail. Send the mail using our OTP, right? So we send the mail. If sending the mail is successful. So if this is successful, we send the mail. And then if all these are successful, you know, we just redirect here. So response. So response to redirect to this verification. Okay. Shan.expx. So I think at this point we need to test all what we have done to make sure that we are in line. So we need to run the program at this juncture to test all what we have done. Good, so let's run this whole program and see. Let's start from the registration page. So let's come here and then register a user. We register the user, we log in the user, and then we direct them to registration page, to verification page rather. So let's do that. Okay, so let's have this up and running and see the next thing we can do. Okay, good. So now we just create okay, let me use this username that I have here, Zillaman, and then let me just name the password. Like I told you, you could actually use the ASP.NET you can actually use the ASP.NET authentication mechanism, which comes also. Let me use this authentication mechanism. So let's register this user and see with this email. Hopefully the user should be registered. Okay, good. So you can see here, user registration successful. Now it's assumed we've registered this user. We can come check this user here in our TBL users. Okay, so we've registered this user with this password, this email, and you can see the OTP and the QR code section is empty. So now it's assumed that this user is back and wants to log into the system. So let's run this login page. Good. So we'll enter the username and then the password, which of course I wrote password. Now on hitting this login button, we expect the following to happen. We check if the user exists. First of all, if we check if the user does not exist, that's if it returns. We iterate through these rows, this table, to check for this username. If it does not exist, we display this message: user does not exist. But if it exists, then we get the user email from we automatically get the user email. Then we generate an OTP automatically, and in calling the OTP function, we automatically generate an OTP, and then we create a QR code from the OTP, which is this. And then we send email. We send an email to the user's email. We send him an email of his OTP and the generated QR code. So that is what we're going to do. And then after all that is successful, then we redirect the user to the verification page where he enters his verification, where he enters his OTP or scan the QR code, and then he will be authenticated, and we move to this page, successful page. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we expect if we click this login button. So let's click it and see. Good. So you can see we are being good. So you can see enter OTP received on your phone or email, and or scan the QR code. Now what we need to do here now is upon page load here, we display the QR code in this space. We pick the QR code from the database, display it here, where the user can scan the QR code, or he enters the OTP and click the verify number. So let's go check our email and see the OTP we've generated, because this is the email I entered. Oh, no. Okay, well, the email won't come now because I didn't enter my credentials, my username, password, and all that, so I didn't enter that. So the email won't come now. So now I'm going to run this offline, and then we're going to check our email later, and then we're going to see, I've done this before, so we're going to see the emails, and then I'll show you the OTP I generate, generated, and then we're going to use that to log in. So just stay with me in the next video where I'm going to send this offline using my username and password, which I don't want to display to you here. So I'm just going to enter my username and password for this my account here, because this account is live, and then I'm going to show you the mail message before we proceed to this point. So thank you for watching this part of the video. Meet me in the next video. Thank you. Hi. So in the last video we were able to create an a function where we send email to a user for the generated QR code. Now and that last video brought us to this page. So and we said what we need to do here is to pull the records from our database based on the user's email or the username, and display the QR code here, and then the user will be asked to enter his OTP or scan the QR code that we're going to have here, and then click verify. So by doing that, if he enters the OTP and clicks verify, and we look at this record and match it with what we have in the database, then we should be able to redirect the user to a successful page. So let's see, I did that, I ran that, and then I have this. So I'm not actually showing you that codes for the email because I don't want to display my my credentials, my email credentials for the mail server I'm using. But you can see from what I did, I have this OTP and then the link to the QR image that is stored on the file system, which is this. So if I'm going to refresh this now, for example, you can see I have the QR image here. So we're going to display this. Now what we need to do is we're going to display this on redirection to this. So but before I do this, I think I can just store this user email in a session. I can just do this, just a session, I call it user email, and then this should equal this. This should equal this user email. So once I redirect this page, verification, okay, sorry, I was thinking it's Visual Basic.net, so it needs to be like this. Okay, good. So once I get to this verification page on the, which is this page now, I think I don't need this, I can close this for now. So now the view code of this, on the page load, I need to get the logged in user information, and then use that to get link to his QR image. So I need this using E-Authentication data set, right? So I can come here, I say that if page is not post back, then page is not post back. Now we have these TBL users, and then execution data sets, data table ITBL, and then this should be new. Good. That's just the same thing we have in the login page. So we just want to iterate through and then get the users QR code and the OTP. So that's what we are going to use to match what the user is going to enter to verify his email. So now we have this, right? So I still need this. Okay, I see ITBL. Right, should be users that gets by username. Okay, so we'll just get by username, which in this case now is session user email, which is the session we have there. So now we're going to say convert this to string. So now we're going to say if TBL rows that count is greater than 0, which of course it means we found a record for this. So make the code a little bit readable. It means we found the record for this. So we're going to do this. We're going to say for each E-Authentication data sets, that's user row, I row in ITBL rows. So just like we did, I could just declare it here. I could just say string image URL as QR image URL, this, and then the same thing I could also do this string OTP, right? So here now, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to say QR image URL should be I row QR code, right? That's what we have in our database. It's called QR code. Okay, good, QR code, right? So we have this. So now the QR image URL will now be this, and then OTP, of course, will also be this. So OTP will be this. So now we're doing this on the page load of the verification page. Now that we have this, so we are going to display the QR code, and we're going to display it in the image we have here. This so image QR code, right? We're just going to say image QR code, image QR code, image URL should be QR image URL, which will have these. Now that's that. So we can go right ahead and log in again and see what we're going to have. So if you can remember, here's our username and here's our password. Now, like I told you, I just created this table just to give you a concept of how this works. But of course, if you're going to use this on your production website, on the website that's intended to use for the public, you are going to use the ESP.NET authentication mechanism, the ASP.NET registration mechanism. So you're going to use that, the ASP.NET membership, you're going to use that. But it's pretty much the same thing, same concept that you are going to use. So this is just to teach you, you know, from the grassroots on how this whole authentication thing works with OTP and QR images. So we have this, right? Let me go back to the login again. Login, generate a new QR code and an OTP, and then send in the email and then display it here. Login.axpx. So I refresh this, I try to log in again with the same credentials that I have, that I've already registered. Okay, good. So I log in with the same username and the same password. So this is going to automatically create a QR code, an OTP and a QR code, and send me an email. So hit the login button. Okay. Now I'm supposed to have this image here. Where am I getting it wrong? Let me see. Images, QR image.jpg, which of course is what I'm displaying, right? Now we're supposed to have the image here. This would have sent us a new email, so let's look at it. You can see this QR code is UUCQ this, so a new QR code should be generated. So let's look at it. Okay, you can see that a new QR code is generated. Receive the new email. Okay, so you can see this is the new email. Now to display this QR code here, which I'm not seeing it here. This image is supposed to show here. Let me see whether user email, that is the session we created, right? Of course, it's this user email. QR image. Okay, let me verify whether what I did here is correct. So let me just do this. Let me just response right. Let me just say response OTP. So this is just to see whether this piece of code is correct. So I go right ahead and generate a new one and we'll create it again. Go right ahead and log in again. Okay. So enter this. Let's see whether we're going to have the OTP written. Okay, so I believe there is a mistake somewhere, since we can display the OTP too. So now let me be sure. Let's go back to the code again. Okay, I added this session here. Got by user email, which is what I got here. How comes I'm not getting this here? Oh, the mistake is mine. I'm getting by username here and I'm putting in the user email. So it's supposed to be the username, not the user email. So that is where the mistake is from. So let's just go back here, and then what we're really interested in, we'll just create session username. Just create session username, and then we can enter this text. Text user, which of course is this, right? So let's just use this, the entered username, and then we come here and then we change this to okay, let's check this again. Okay, we said username, right? So come here and then we change this to username. We can remove this this line of code, and then we can rerun this again. So let's run this. Okay, so let me log in again to my account. Oh, the process cannot access the file. This because it's being used by another process. Okay. And what other process is that? Well, let me delete this QR image and then redo it again. Probably it's being used by another process. Okay, so what are the processes using this? Let me delete the whole folder and recreate it again. Okay, so what was the issue now? What are the processes using this? This let me close a whole lot of things and try to delete again and see. What other process is using this file again? You can see the OTP keeps on changing with the QR code, with the corresponding QR code. And if you can see, we're not actually pulling the QR code from this URL. If we are doing a verification, we're actually pulling it from what we have in the database. But the best method is not to store the QR code image here in your file system. Is to store the QR image itself as in byte format in the database, so you can have it different. So you need to note that, so you can have different QR codes, corresponding QR codes to OTP for different accounts. So you need to note that. So this method of storing the QR code image here, it's not recommended, and it's not really the best. We just did this here for simplicity case for you to understand. Now what other processes consuming this? Can I do this? Does it want me to re-register again? This is serious. So what are the processes holding that? Okay, let's see what other processes. Let's look at the error again. Let's try to read the error again. Let's do this again. Let's note where the error is coming from. Okay. It's being used by another process. Okay, it's being used by this process. That means this login .axpx. Generates OTP, generates QR code. So this is where we're having issues, right? But by using the using statements, it's supposed to close. This is supposed to close. This expects me to close and reopen Visual Studio, which is something I don't want to do now. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Just for you to understand, let me change this, and then let me change this like this. So each time we log in, we automatically generate an OTP and send to the user's email. So this is this. This is this. Okay, good. So you can see we have the QR code here, and then an email of this QR code with its corresponding OTP has been sent to the user. So if you go to my email now, you'll probably see a whole lot of email on what we've been trying since. You see just 2 or 3 emails. So if we come here to my email, good, and then I think this is the most recent one. Good, so this is the OTP and this is the corresponding QR code. So now it's assumed that this has been sent to the user's email. So he needs to copy this OTP here, like this. He needs to copy this OTP and then insert the OTP here. Then insert the OTP here and click on verify. So we're going to check this entered value here with what we have in our database. So if it corresponds, then we verify the user. But if it doesn't, then we tell the user cannot be verified, or the user can scan this QR code with his phone and then click on verify. So that's the idea. So if you come to the database and then refresh this, if we come and refresh this, you can see that's the corresponding OTP. So now what we're going to do now is we are going to verify this. So on clicking the verify button here, let's just create an on-click event. So on clicking the verify button, we are going to check what the user has entered with the OTP that we have in our database. So this is our own OTP here. So we're just going to check. We're going to say if text OTP that's the user has entered is the same thing with OTP, then response should redirect to this place. Default success.aspx. Else we just display a message. So let's see, do we have so if we can verify the user, let's display a message. So let's drop this here. Let's put this like this, and then we drop it here. So else we say LBL message. Text is user identity cannot be verified. Just a simple message like this. Visible will be true. So now on clicking the verify button, if this corresponds to what we have here, what he entered, then we verify, else we display a message. So now we're here, and then we've entered these. So let's just go right ahead and hit the verify button. Okay, I think I need to do this second time again. I didn't refresh this page, so okay, user identity cannot be verified. Are we not entering the right OTP? ULIW. And then let's check on page load. We already have these. OTP already has this value, so we're checking if it's the same. Let me see if the username is still in session. Let me refresh this page. Okay. So it's these, right? W art. Do we have the art? We don't have that here. So ULIW. So what do we have in the email? Let's check. Okay, we have ULIW with this symbol, with the art symbol. So that's where the problem is. So where did we get this symbol art from? Let's look at the codes again. Okay, let's remove the @ symbol and then verify this and then redo the whole thing again. Let's remove this, click on verify. Uh-oh. ULIW. Am I making a mistake somewhere? If text OTP, which of course is this. Maybe I'm making a mistake. Let me do this. Let me say string my OTP. So, and then so my OTP is the same with this. They're all strings, right? Let me refresh this page if we're still in session. Okay, let's check for still insertion. Oh, user identity cannot be verified. So where am I making the mistake? Okay, let me see this. Let me debug this way. 5UIW. This is what we have. I hope we're still in session. So let's look at this. 5ULIW. Okay, and then it's from my code. 5ULIW, 5 capital U IW. Do we have any spaces? Okay, let me trim this outside. Let me write this 5ULIW and hit the verify button and see. Oh, also where am I getting the problem from? What am I writing here? Yeah, of course, that's L. Okay, it's capital I, 5UII. This is capital I. Alright, that's where I'm getting the mistake. So I need to, what I copied there is what I need to write here. Okay, and then I hit the verify button. the mistake is actually coming from me. I'm not writing the exact OTP. So you can see we have been authenticated. So now let's redo the whole system again, and then see, to avoid that error that we're having, let me just go right ahead, come here, and then change this to just secure image 3, secure image 3. So let's start from the login for that particular user. Okay, so let's enter the credentials again. So we enter the username, password, we hit the login button. Takes us to the verification page with our OTP, sends us an email of our OTP. Let's go and look at it. So let's go and look at the email of our OTP. Okay, so this is the email we received. Okay, I guess this art here is something I added probably in the code. So let's just copy this. So we copy this, and then we go to our verification page, and then we add this here, and then we hit on verify. User cannot be verified. We copy the wrong thing. Oh, I need to change this code. Sorry, we need to change this codes. My OTP is supposed to be OTP here, of course. And then let's look at the OTP here we have in our database, which of course has changed from this for that user. To this that we have here. So let's still enter it, copy it from the email, and then let's hit on verify. Hey, am I making any mistake? just to be sure I'm not making any mistake. I guess I'm making a mistake. Anyway, I'm making a mistake from now. I guess I know where I'm making the mistake from. We need to redo this again. We need to copy this same line of code. And then add it here. And then we remove this, and then we remove this, and then we make this OTP. So that's what we need to do. So by doing this, okay, we are going to create another one just to avoid that error. I'm going to say QR image 4. So good. So we redo that again. Okay, so we go to our email. I believe in sending our email, we actually added this @ button. So make sure you remove that in yours. Okay, so we go here, account activation, and then of course I have to, okay, this is okay. So we'll check our mail. Did we have the QR code? Probably. So I copy this, come here, paste this for my email, and then I click on verify. So good. So we have successfully verified our identity. So this is how we are going to, this is how you can build an e-authentication system using one-time password and QR code in ASP.NET. So if you've been following this tutorial, kudos on you for getting up to this point. So one more time, my name is Ayuba Ojonuwa Moazu, and thank you for watching.